Okay, I wanted to do a attempt at copying other people's slinging styles, just to see if I can learn anything. Because there's certain, everybody has a way of doing it, and I feel like the more you can change things up and get different feels for where the sling is, the better kind of haptic feedback, the feel of where the sling is and the feel of how it pulls and the feel of where the ball goes. All that really helps if you can mix things up. So I'm going to try to copy other people's styles and talk about what I see and what I feel after I try it. All right, first up, practical paracord. I'm going to try to do the way Channing does it. So, some things I noticed that Channing does when he slings. He's always got elbow up, gets the spin going, kind of this angle. And he usually steps at the same time that he gets his power stroke. So, goes. And then when the sling gets kind of behind him here, that's when he hits and starts pulling through. And he usually gets kind of a full extension on the leg and a lot of upper body movement into it. Let's see if I can replicate that. All right, not as good as Channing. Let's try that again. Yeah, my timing and his timing are a little bit different. It's kind of hard to change the timing. But one thing I noticed about Channing is he's got really good arm layback. When he starts his pull through, his arm's like almost flat, just like you want if you're throwing a baseball. I don't have quite as much shoulder mobility, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting feel. It's interesting to feel the timing of the power stroke be a little bit different, a little bit later than I usually feel it. I don't know what else to say about it. I'll have to think about it a little bit and come back to it. And one thing you'll notice is I look really clunky compared to anybody else slinging because I'm trying out something different for the first time. Maybe I can get a little cleaner eventually, but these are all going to look pretty clunky. Okay, next up, Mursa. Mursa really likes the Byzantine style, just once up and over. And one thing I noticed about Mursa when he slings, he tends to get his elbow in kind of forward and pretty tight to his body, and it's more of an extension when he gets hits through his power stroke. So kind of more of a linear push forward. I think that's actually maybe possibly a little bit better for accuracy because you can, it's more of you're throwing your arm forward at the target, whereas mine is more of a get arm up and wide and throw out. But anyway, do it and see how it feels and see what we can learn from it. I don't know if that was like Mursa, but it felt different. One thing's for sure, it feels pretty snappy. Definitely feels like maybe a little bit more control over where it's going, maybe. Felt like it wasn't going to be as wild left and right. That's pretty interesting. Okay, next, archaic arms. So, one thing about AA when he slings, he gets really good hip to shoulder separation when he's throwing. He pulls in his hip before his shoulders start to move, and he gets a really long power stroke, even with short slings. One thing I also noticed is he really gets his chest out. He gets his chest out, arm up, scapular retraction. And the other thing that's interesting is when he slings, he keeps his elbow bent all the way through. Like when he goes through, it's all shoulder. The elbow never fully extends. It just stays. I keep extending. It stays like that. And I've tried that. It's different. See if I can replicate it. But it definitely has a different feel to it. And you don't. There's very little tricep involved. It's mostly bicep and these muscles. Obliques. Alright, let's try that again. Yeah, I keep extending. Let's try one more time. So one thing about that, I don't feel like I'm ever going to hurt my elbow. I feel like I could sling something really heavy and it wouldn't put a whole lot of stress on my elbow because I'm never extending it fully. There's not a lot of stress on that. There's less stress on this joint. So that's one thing I'll say about the elbow extension. It's really interesting. All right, next up, Kinetic Slinger. So how he slings, I did talk about it a little bit, but when he winds up, he keeps his wrist pretty static. He doesn't do this a lot, which I think helps him with the curve. But the other thing that he really does, when he comes through, it's kind of up and across the body. Let's see if I can do it. Certainly not the right curve. Must have done it wrong. That's interesting. Yeah, it definitely feels different. I have no idea if that looks like Cheney, but it felt different. Coming through and under, I do feel like kind of coming a little bit under, which felt like I did. I don't know if I actually did it, but it definitely helps with get a little bit right curve. So it's an interesting thing. All right, next, Acro ballistics. So when he slings, actually, just a quick shout out. This is a sling from Acro ballistics. I believe it's the, oh man, I don't remember. It's not the LP4. It's an excellent sling, by the way. Hollow core Dyneema, little tab, really nice finger loop. You can get it like this or for your lined up with your fingers, and a really nice molded pouch. Anyway, Acro ballistic style. What does he do differently? So when he slings, he gets this really relaxed, kind of next to the arm, rotor going. And when he slings, he gets the arm really extended out and chest out, and then comes through. It's gonna be hard for me to get this left arm, but I think he gets a little extra power because he kind of stretches the pec out before he comes through. So we'll try that. That one felt good. I don't know if it was like Acro ballistics, but try it one more time. Yeah, one thing I notice I do I was trying not to do that, but I did it anyway. Because I tend to crouch when I sling, and everybody else, not everybody, but a lot of other slingers stay really upright. I don't know which is better. It's just natural. It just feels natural to crouch for me. I don't know why, but it's really interesting. I do feel like this action of this left arm is potentially helpful. I always tuck mine. I just keep it tucked. I don't know why, but I think I might try working on that. So. Okay, so what did I learn today? So, I think what I learned was every different slinger's style seems to have some aspect which is potentially beneficial for me, to maybe even for particular situations. I think that just kind of whatever comes natural to you is helpful, but there might be certain aspects to try out to see if you can get a different feel for how the sling behaves and how the power stroke and how fast you can get it, all that. For me, the things I kind of liked was I feel like I can get a little more power with things like the left arm, like Acro uses. Definitely I need to work on my shoulder mobility. This practical paracord, I know he gets a lot more power because he has such nice layback. Actually, Acro archaic arms, and practical paracord all have pretty good shoulder mobility. It's definitely something I need to work on. I do think that MRSA, the way he is a little more linear with the elbow, does this kind of motion, does potentially make it more precise. So I might try that when I need a more precise shot. And the way archaic arms has his elbow bent all through the power stroke and uses just the shoulders, chest out, seems to be really beneficial for power, especially with heavy stones. So yeah, I think this is a useful exercise, and try it out sometime. Try to copy other people's styles and just see how it feels. See what how someone else does it. See if it works for you. See if you can learn anything.